All right, all of you freedom-loving boys and girls, whoever you are, wherever you're from on this beautiful blue marble of a planet called Earth, Mark Centerline Systems, welcome to the live stream. Today's live stream is going to be on our GAP pouch, and I'll explain what that acronym is, and then BABS, which is kind of like the GAP pouch, and I'll tell you the whole story behind that. But as always, I kind of start off with just a little bit of a story and some other housekeeping just to kind of let some people catch up to the live stream. Yeah, and howdy already. We got Gene from across the pond and Jared. I think I was just talking to you a second ago, sir. Yeah, give me a thumbs up if that was you. We were just talking. Jared's got a really good idea. We'll see if we can pull it off. I'm not going to say what it is, but if that's Jared, if that's the gentleman I spoke to. But so a quick story. And then I'm going to do one other thing, and then we'll kind of get into it. And we do have a special guest for tonight. He's kind of waiting in the background right now. But a quick story. And look, I love all you guys and gals. It's great interacting with everybody. You know, just in this day and age, you never know how people are going to interpret what you say. I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's a help me help you. I get a lot of people who send me a text message. Hey, you know, what's the deal with this, or asking a question, and it's just a text message. And, you know, there's a phone number. Sometimes I can see a name, but more often than not, it's just a phone number. And if you didn't enter your phone number exactly like it's displayed in your order, I can't find you, right? I need a name or an order number or just another little piece of information. Help me help you when you reach out, you know, otherwise I'm just sitting there. You know, that's why I'm bald. I'm sitting here scratching my head. Like, I don't even know who this person is. All right. And then somebody last time was asking about, yep. All right, Jared, that was Jared. Yep. Nice to see you here, Jared. And then somebody last time, a couple times ago, I think it was Al. Al was asking about these swatches. Now, I have these on the website too. If you go to the website and you go to like special requests or options, I can't remember what that tab is, but there's a tab where you can see all of these different colors, you know. Yeah, see, this is going to look a little bit weird on the camera, the Ranger Green and the Coyote Brown. So this might not really be all that good. We no longer actually have this is ATAX FGX. You know, depending if you're looking for something small, I might still be able to make it, but we don't have that material anymore. Multicam with Coyote Brown. And again, there's better swatches on the website for you to see this, but, you know, you can kind of see Ranger Green with Coyote Brown Ranger, and then Multicam Tropic on it. Black with gray, black, and Multicam Black. Give me a sec. Here's Multicam Black with Ranger Green, Multicam Black, and just black on it. And that's sewn in Ranger Green. And then here's Multicam Tropic with Ranger Green, Coyote Brown, and Multicam Tropic sewn on it. Again, this is up on the website. You can see it there. I don't know if that helped. Taking a peek at that right there. I hope it showed up good enough, but there is a tab on the website where you can see that as well. All right, kind of jumping right into it then. Give me a sec. All right, the GAP pouch. So GAP stands for Gear, Ammo, and Pogie Bait. The GAP pouch I made a long, long time ago. Now, this new version is just slightly different now, but we made this way back in the day to work with our Thor system, which was our tactical hunting, outdoor, and recreation system that we have. Go back and look at some of the old pictures. Well, so, you know, that was really, you know, it took almost 3 days to make one of those things. And, you know, and you're kind of in a market competing with, like, you know, cheap plate carriers and stuff like that. It wasn't necessarily a plate carrier, but it could have been. But these GAP pouches, we made these, and I made them specifically around a box of 12 gauge shells. So let me just kind of show this off. You know, 12 gauge shells, you get a sense. So if you're at the range and you're shooting clay or, you know, skeet or whatever you're doing, you know, I don't know if you're really out in the woods walking around carrying a box of 12 gauge with you, but it just gives you a sense of what can fit in there. And then you'll notice that there's a big thing of Velcro up top and there's Velcro up front. Now, this Velcro up front is in loops, so you can, you know, you run your name tape there if you want, or a little small patch. but it's also so you can put S-beaners there and have your gloves and accoutrements up on the front. But this top one, the reason that's there is so you can flip the material over on itself. So in inclement weather, it still would be over the top and protecting, because maybe you've got binos in here or some optics or something like that. So it still adds some protection, but now you can just reach right in, right? It's silent. So from kind of like a hunting and a tactical kind of concept, you know, just got better noise discipline going on there. So that's what that big thing of Velcro up on top is. So if you want to have fast access and nice and quiet access, fold it back over on top itself. It still blocks off the interior space from inclement weather, rain, snow, that kind of stuff. There's a D-ring inside. You might be able to see that. Yeah, there you go. So a little D-ring on the inside, you know, in case you want to secure your keys or some mission critical item. And then you'll notice this is the difference between, and then there's MOLLE on the back. So same thing, you can attach it to another item. You can weave the MOLLE different ways to have a belt loop up high or a belt loop down below if you wanted to carry it on your waistline. But then what we added, and this is kind of because of Babs. So we were bringing this back, and I wanted to make this, well, here's what it really boils down to. So we were bringing it back, and we had some spare material, and Cindy made a version of it for herself to use as a little purse, Cindy, my lead sewer. And I was like, damn it, now we've got to do that over here on the Gap pouch, because, you know, that works, but we got to make it so the Gap pouch can be shoulder carried as well. So if you want, that's what these loops on the sides are for. Again, you could also attach a carabiner there, you know, carry another piece of gear, gloves, whatever the case is. But this is where you would mount the chasm buckles, which are falling all over the place. Hey, there's going to be a repeat of the last one where the stuff was smacking me in the face. So there's a chasm buckle. It's got an opening on both ends, but on opposite sides. But you can put those chasm buckles onto the side of the Gap, and then now you could use it as a shoulder strap carry. That shoulder strap is separate. It doesn't come with it. It's really meant to kind of just go on the outside of your gear. But yeah, you know, our standard shoulder straps, chasm buckle, if you want to use the Gap pouch and an over the shoulder configuration. Just a couple other little things. So I just showed you. So it's gear, ammo, and pogey bait. Pogey bait, just a military slang term for food, right? I mean, lickies, chewies. You might hear me say, I say that more often than anything, but yeah. So it's just carry whatever you want to carry in there, right? If it takes a box of 12 gauge, well, you know, it's going to accommodate X, Y, and Z. Here's like a little OtterBox case, you know, for this one I've got set up as like an emergency fire kit. So that fits in here. You know, if you're thinking like geocaching, just giving you a sense of what kind of can fit in there. You kind of see, and there's tons of space. I could, you know, put a whole bunch of other items in there still. And then here we're on the geocaching. So in kind of an official geocache, you know, kind of whatever that means. But so you can see this is a much larger container. Get in there. There we go. So that fits in. It's rides a little bit high, but that's all right because there's more than enough space on the front to accommodate. All right. There's the Gap pouch. So it's just a really good general utility all around pouch. Gear, ammo, pogey bait, or food, however you want to describe it. Gap pouch. Now, let me show you the Babs. And I don't know what Babs means. It just Babs. We just started calling it Babs, and that stuck. It's not an acronym. It doesn't really mean anything other than Babs. So the difference here is Babs is a dedicated shoulder strap pouch. So the shoulder strap is built into it, and it's static, right? It's a totally adjustable, but it always has the shoulder strap. And then the other key features is you can see there's a slip pocket on the rear. You know, I don't know what you're going to put there. Maybe your phone, maybe a notebook, you know, maybe a tablet, you know, whatever you do, you, right? But so there's a rear slip pocket there. Still has the same, you know, MOLLE up on top, so you could fold the lid over on itself. Same thing, the little bit of Velcro on the front, cool guy patch, carabiner, whatever you want. And then the only other difference is on the inside. So it still has a D-ring, security ring for, you know, your keys or whatever the case may be. But there's also an additional slip pocket. This is going to be a little bit difficult. Let's see if I can do it. Reach around. There we go. So there you can see. So there's the main pocket, which again, is the same size as the gap, but then there's a slip pocket in the inside rear, passport, cell phone, wallet, again, you do you, but you get the concept. And then, so the only other real difference is, the Babs, it's dedicated shoulder strap, whereas the Gap pouch, you see it's got Molly on the back. It's really designed to go on to other pieces of gear. But if you wanted to, you can wear it in a shoulder, over the shoulder carry configuration. If you order one and you already have an extra shoulder strap, then just maybe leave me a note and say, hey, give me a couple chasm buckles. When I call everybody and talk and confirm their order, I'm usually asking that question anyway, like, hey, how are you going to use this? Do you need me to throw some chasm buckles in there? that kind of stuff. So that kind of wraps up the Gap and the Babs. Let me just kind of see. Okay. Yeah. Jared. Yep. That was you. All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Nice to see you over here. And we got Gene and Bourbon and Bears. I think that's supposed to be beers, but maybe Bears, Bourbon and Bears too. Whatever, Gene. Yeah. However works for you. All right, everybody. Hey, on that note, it's been about 11 minutes. Yeah, not quite 12 minutes. We've got a very special guest, and I'm going to bring him on here. Hey, buddy, you ready? All right, I got thumbs up. So we're going to bring on a very special guest. Everyone, I'd like you to introduce you to a great man, great friend, Blake from Fog Firearms. Fog is the company that does all of our Cerakoting. So on our snap caps, our buckles for the belts that we make and the belts that we make for Jacket, Black Scout, Survival, anything that we do with Cerakoting, that's these guys right here. Blake, welcome to our little live stream. Let's tell everybody just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a gunsmith in northern Minnesota. We have a family-owned business up here. It's me, and then there's another really good friend of mine that we went to gunsmithing school with that do gunsmithing here. I was trained at Trinidad State College in southern Colorado, which was P.O. Ackley's school. For anyone that maybe knows who he was a World War II vet that when he got out of the service started a school for veterans to get into and start doing a lot of repair. And then later on, as it expanded, it opened up to the general public. And Ackley is the one that's responsible for like Ackley improved cartridges and things like that. So while we were there, we learned under Speedy Gonzalez, which was currently the 14th time national bench rest champion shooter. The guy's an incredible shot. John McLaughlin, who's another guild instructor and a master machinist in, I believe, 7 or 8 different disciplines, as well as multiple other great instructors while we were there. So anyway, that's kind of a little background of the education. We've been, gunsmithing up here for about the last, what is it, 24 already? Yeah. All right. So 13 years, basically. We kind of specialized in a lot of custom rifles is really where we're going now. A lot of fitment to make sure a firearm properly fits the shooter. We do a lot of pistol modifications, as Mark mentioned earlier, Cerakote, from, just general refinishing of a firearm to kind of restoring all the way out to camouflage patterns, custom gear, really about whatever you're looking for as far as refinishing goes. We also have in-house machining capabilities. We have a CNC mill. I've got a lathe, a second operation hard-hinge lathe. We have a welding shop set up. So long story short, I could go on and on about our capabilities, but really what we kind of try to focus on is fitting the firearm to the individual. Our real goal at Fog Firearms is to take all of the variables off the platform, off the firearm itself, and put them on the shoulder of the shooter. So if, for instance, I had a customer come in recently and he has a Benelli that it couldn't fit him properly, and he's trying to upland hunt with it. And turns out it's a 17.5-inch length of pull on the stock. Well, we need to add 2 inches to it so that it properly fits him. Once that happens though, and that change happens and that firearm naturally fits you, it's amazing how it becomes an extension of your body and you become a lot better at shooting. You're more proficient. You're taking your game cleaner. You're defending yourself cleaner, whatever it may well be. Having something that really fits you like a glove, quote unquote, is really our goal. And that's really where we try to take it as far as a customer's platform goes. So,
and just to throw a couple of little plugs in there for you, again, so if you're not into, weapon, or into platforms, so look, again, this personal defense, hunting, sport shooting, that's, it's a wide spectrum, but, hey, there's a lot of people who are. And I'll just say from my personal perspective, like of what I was accustomed and what I was using when I was kind of, doing that stuff. And then, meeting Blake, I think I met you. We've kind of figured this out the other day, like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think we
I met you
just crossed a decade, I think, or we're like right at or something. So
yeah. So I met these guys just a few years after leaving the agency, and I've gone to them, before we even started doing business with each other. I was going to them for all of my modifications because, so I personally prefer Glocks, but I always get a strap reduction, right? So that's just a thing for me. I do a strap reduction and a beaver tail extension, right? So go to Blake for those guys. Again, we do all of our belt buckles. Here's just something that he did for me, just kind of fun. If you guys kind of remember these, I still got a handful of these for me, but we were doing these tins. Oh, you know what, man? I should have had that picture of you to throw you under the bus. I'm not going to do it, but
it's a calendar shot. We'll do a calendar later.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's a fundraiser.
But so we used to do these, we do little small batches, and we're giving these out. And do my canteen as well. And then I just mentioned, all my handguns, I have all that work done. And then just something I kind of want to show off, because I really love how this came out. And just to show you the quality and the craftsmanship of their work, I'm going to move my mic here. So that is not how that normally comes, obviously. But they Cerakoted that, but not just. Do you want to tell the other little cool thing that you did to this?
Yeah, well,
so talking about when you're saying about making it work for the end user, there's something very specific here on this Kel-Tec I wanted done, and these guys were able to do it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, so it was actually pretty simple fix. I wish I could say it was our design. It's not. But Mark was really looking for the ability to be able to
rapidly. Kind of can see it right there.
Yeah, you can see it in the view there. Mark was looking for the ability to rapidly switch between the two tubular magazines, really at a moment's notice. So we did some research to try to see what was out there, and it actually turns out there was a company, and I wish I could give you the name of the company. I can't remember it offhand. But they created an extended magazine tube switch. And what's really nice after we installed it and kind of slicked it up a little bit, is you can actually rotate the magazine with your wrist without breaking grip. So while you're still actively on target firing, you're able to switch that tube magazine. So let's say, for instance, if you did want to have one loaded for a special operations, like say it had a less than lethal in it, and then the other one happened to have something a little more potent in it, you could do that. Or if you wanted to have 2 less than lethals or 2 live rounds, I'm not an attorney, so not telling you how to load your shotguns, but those abilities are there. So, and that's kind of the thing, is really going back to one of the core principles, especially when we're talking about pistols, is if you think about how humanity has developed, and when we were on the Serengeti and how we fought, and we threw a lot of spears, we used projectile weapons and stuff, but there was that natural inclination for us to use projectile weapons, and in doing so, having that motion of chucking a spear. And if you think about that throw, there's the camera, your index finger, okay, that's really where you're aiming your targets at. So what we really want to do is make the barrel the extension of the index finger. So when that something fits your hand perfectly, it's very native for you to just draw. And this goes into things like point shooting and some press pull sort of stuff like that, where excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, where you can kind of take out that higher conscious function while you're shooting and really kind of rely on your subconscious and really how humanity's been built to really kind of rapidly target acquire. So Mark, I don't know if you want to go into any of that right now.
I'm just going to use that as a springboard. We didn't plan this, but I've mentioned I'm going to start doing some training over on Centerline Systems, and not 100% sure how this is going to really flesh out. I might just do little 30-minute lives like this, have some people just demonstrate 1 or 2 little tricks that I've learned, or that was, that I picked up in my training at the agency or somewhere, the military, whatever, other people. So whether it's a class on a specific subject, like we're just talking about handguns and point shooting, like that'll definitely be one right there, because, I think when I first met Blake, and when I first met a lot of people when I came out of the agency, even some of my former, military friends who were then cops were like, oh, that's crazy. You would never do that. And now you see that evolution in these platforms. It's all mimicking all of that stuff, and it's all designed down that road. So we might share some of that stuff in the future, because as Blake said, when grip is half the battle of accuracy. And if you've got a good grip on your weapon, well, your grip is naturally going to have your thumb as a pointer, or your finger. We'll save that for later, but reflex shooting, point shooting, and that modification that you guys made on this Kel-Tec is, I'm on the pistol grip. And as Blake's talking about, if I'm running dry, or if I'm going to go switch between tubes, it literally, I'm not losing any of my situational awareness. I'm not breaking my grip. I'm not losing any of my positive control of my weapons platform. I still have 4 points of contact. And all I'm doing is with my wrist is I'm just twisting my wrist one way, just like that. That's all I'm doing. And now I can, go ahead and I can select a different tube from which to access, whatever ammo I have in that tube. So that's just really cool. And that's what I think I kind of wanted to really be able to point out for you guys. That's what you guys bring to the table, is a lot of real world experiences and common sense and knowledge of your own from your background to make those type of modifications for the end user a reality.
For sure. And like, to kind of use your quote, we don't do a lot of the cool guy guns. I love cool guy guns. A lot of what we do is hunting stuff, but we do go from Glock platforms, Kel-Tecs, to bolt action rifles, dangerous game. If you're looking for a control round feed and that kind of stuff. And really, when I'm trying to, if we're building something custom for a customer, I want to sit down, engage, and go, okay, what's the use? Where are you going to use it? What's the environment? Is weight a concern? And kind of get a gauge and a feeling of what is the goal? Is this a specific hunt where we're going to go up and down the Rocky Mountains? Well, we're going to really want to look at a carbon fiber stock, carbon fiber barrel, but the thing is are you really going to do mostly cold bore shooting, or is it a lot of prairie dog hunting and you need that mass to be able to dissipate the heat? Or, what kind of trigger pull do you like? Are you looking for a good 3 1/4 to like 4.5 pound hunting trigger? Or are you a bench rest guy and you really like 1 pound sub? There's a lot of variants that can be done in a platform that can really tune it. And more importantly than anything else is, how well does that stock fit you? How well does it, the rifle shoulder up for you? How well is everything timed and tuned to you? Because everyone's built differently. So,
hey, what do you think people in the Navy are built differently, Blake? Like commanders who are doing fun shoots or whatever you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know if I know what you're talking about, Mark.
Oh, that was big news all over the place on social media yesterday.
Really? I'll have to look into it after this.
How he was holding the weapon, how it was set up. It had a Trijicon optic on it, and it was backwards. It was just, and the Navy got so ratioed, they deleted it right away. So Blake and Patrick from Fog Firearms, they're not Navy guys. I'm just here if anyone gets the joke,
I swear, guys, we're not Navy.
But it was an embarrassing moment. There were so many things wrong with what they were doing. But
and to the point, like you were talking about with the Trijicon and optic systems and stuff, we do a lot of direct milled optic mounts for reflex sights and things like that. Like that's a pretty hot thing in the industry, but it's really nice for a lot of carry pistols. If you've ever shot them and you've shot iron sights before, it's like cheating. And a lot of people from the industry, they don't properly mount those optics when they do direct slide or direct mount optic. So what we'll do is we actually measure true to the barrel. So, hey, Tycho, hush up, bud. My dog's wanting to go out. What we do is we actually measure true to the barrel itself. So if you look at like a 1911 and there's a slight cam to the barrel when it's locked into position, okay, if you measure just 0 off the top of the actual slide itself, you're not going to get full MOA adjustment on your scope itself when you're going to go up and down. Whereas if you do tune it to the barrel itself, you have a whole hell of a lot more adjustment to it. So there's a little small things here and there. Just kind of depends on what you're really looking for or looking to get done. And we also do a lot of suppressor work and that kind of stuff too. So
I just got to read Big Visks, his comment. Was that Navy, the memes? Yeah. Now with the backward scope and stuff, that was legit, hilarious. Yeah. It was, whoever was in charge of that social media should have maybe talked to somebody who's in charge of the weapons platforms. And because I don't know, Blake, if you haven't seen it, I'm really surprised because you're pretty good on social media stuff, but it definitely made the rounds. Everybody, maybe it's good that you missed it because you would have lost your shit. It just was it was so embarrassing on so many levels. And
we'll definitely have to check it out for sure. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here real quick, but you can tell modern day anymore, like the people that say, hey, these things shouldn't be had, yada, yada, yada. We should regulate them, whatever it may well be in the term of modern regulation. They don't understand the nomenclature. They don't understand how these things work. They don't understand the first thing about them. And it just shows you the disconnect between those that actually utilize these tools, because that's what they are. They're just tools that it sits down on a bench and no one interacts with it. It's not going to do anything but gather dust, so it's all about the impetus behind what, who's using it, what they're using it for. So it just goes to show you. And I think that's one of the big things we've talked about a lot. Education is key. That's really the thing is learn, and whatever discipline it may well be that you find interesting, the more you can learn, the better off you're going to be. So.
Yeah, right on. Hey, so we had a couple of comments, no real questions. I'm going to, again, just I posted it up there. I don't know if people saw it, but if anyone's got a question for Blake, fire away. Blake, as that kind of takes time, there's usually maybe about a 2-minute delay on some of these platforms. But so I don't know. Is there anything in specific that you want to, we've got about 5-10 minutes left. Is there anything specific that you would like to share with anybody or bring to the table?
Yeah. All right. This is a little piece that I get about 3 to 4 customers in every single year because of this problem. So Rem oil. All right. Remington oil. Be very careful with it. Exterior use, fantastic. If you're just trying to stabilize the metal on the outside of your gun, great way to do it. But a lot of guys will take that little stupid tin or can that's aerosolized with a little straw. They'll put it on there and they'll blow out the inside of the gun because they're thinking they're lubricating everything up. And in the process, what happens is because of all the additives added into Rem oil, and pretty much really any more expensive gun oil, quote unquote, has this same issue. They'll have a lot of detergents and things like that. And when it mixes with the carbon buildup inside of the firearm and the temperature drops, specifically when we're talking like 20 degrees Fahrenheit or less, it will start to gelatinize and turn into almost like a varnish. And about 3 to 4 clients a year from the deer stand, they'll have missed a deer because they'll discharge the firearm. They'll hear an audible click, and that firing pin will sluggishly move forward and not strike the primer firm enough to actually discharge the cartridge, thus causing them to miss their animal. And I mean, seriously, it is really common. And every single time I ask, you use Rem oil, don't you? 100% of the time. Yeah, I use Rem oil. So thin oils, Otis is a great one, but really cheap, thin gun oils that don't have a whole lot going on. And when you do lubricate things on the surfaces that you're lubricating, we're talking single drop of lubrication smeared around as far as you can get it and then basically wipe it off. And that's most often than not is properly lubricated. So,
and you're just bringing up a great point right there, which, there's so many areas of interest or / areas of concern. If you're going to rely on one of these tools for whatever you're doing, as Blake's just pointing out, well, you want to make sure that you know how this machine functions, you know how to operate it, you know how to assemble, disassemble, and you need to know how to do proper maintenance. I think I brought that up in one of the last podcasts too. Yeah, matter of fact, just even talking about your water filter, you have to do maintenance, and it's not always the same as Blake just said. If you live up here in northern Minnesota and you're out at deer hunting during rifle season, well, depending on the year, that could be very cold as you're getting at, right? And then so if you're not using depending on your oil, CLP, too much, I mean, it is what it is. And you've got to think through all those variables because it's a tool, and the tool and its function is going to be impacted by a variety of external influencers. So
an environment will absolutely affect the quality and the operation of a platform. I mean, if you go to extremes from both ends, cold to heat, you can run into different types of issues. Typically, heat is more because of the actual physical environment itself, where you're getting a lot of detritus and things like that in the firearm. Just kind of a quick little anecdotal story. I actually had a guy come in with a nylon 66. Some of you guys probably remember those little nylon 22 rifles. And he needed to get a cleaning oil done on it, and it stunk. Oh, it smelled so bad, and I couldn't figure out why it was. Well, we got it all taken apart, got the stock off, and because it was a nylon stock, it had all the casting mold line marks in it. So they're like little deep indentation squares inside the fore end of the stock that can hold material, detritus, things like that. And inside of there, every one of them was packed full of bacon grease. I mean, stuffed full of bacon grease. And so we get the whole gun cleaned apart, scrub it down. It actually preserved the stock, and the material is actually in really good shape. But we get it back in, and I go, you go to deer camp every year, don't you? And he goes, yeah. And I said, you don't hunt, do you? And he goes, no, how do you know? I said, you're the camp cookie, aren't you? And he goes, how the hell do you possibly know this? I said, because your gun's friggin' full of bacon grease, man.
Yeah,
So,
is he using that to flip the eggs, or
no. So he'd have a propane stove that he'd set out next to deer camp, and he'd cook in the cast iron skillet on it, and leaning right next to it, he'd always have that 22 sitting there. So if anything came through camp, he could shoot it or whatever it is. And years of that thing leaning in the same place, just filled full of bacon grease.
Yeah,
man.
and all that splatter and everything.
Yeah.
Alf, one of our regulars, great guy. He just commented he's got one of those. He says it's a great little 22. So
they actually are. They're really cool. They're really neat little 22s. So
hey, so we're at 30 minutes. We've been trying to keep these about 30 minutes, but I want to give you a chance to do any last plug for your business or something, or just anything in general that you want to share with everyone. But before we do that, I'm going to do my little bit of housekeeping. So the SRDP, because now we're talking about 22s and and weapons platforms. So our survival rifle deployment pouch, the SRDP, probably will be up on the weekend. I think I mentioned this Monday where I'm just getting one photograph for right now, and then I got to get the other stuff. But once we have at least that one photograph, I'll have it up. So definitely sometime between now and the 15th, the SRDP will be on the website. So for those people who are interested, just letting you know. I'm hoping I'll have it up no later than Sunday. Might be Monday, just kind of, everybody's busy and, got to just wait and get the photograph. No point putting the page up and you can't see what the hell it is you're buying. But that's my little bit of housekeeping because we're talking about platforms, Blake. You want to just take it for like another 5 minutes or something like that? And because I know you got some other things you wanted to share.
Yeah, I'll make it kind of quick. I mean, as far as really, I kind of went over what we do. If it is anything you want done, either contact Mark or you can email us. I'm in the process of a new move right now, so I'm setting up a new facility. So like a lot of the contact stuff is kind of hit or miss right now. But my shop number is active and I carry that all day long. It's 218-547-3015. Again, that's 218-547-3015. It's a little shameless plug right there, but say
it again,
218-547-3015. And if you do want to get any work done, I got people all around the nation that ship stuff into us. Unfortunately, I don't do anything really overseas, like in Canada or anything. I do have some clients that I do ship stuff up to Alaska for on a relatively regular basis. We do have contacts with PHs too. So if you're looking for some professional hunters or wanting to go on some hunts or any of that kind of stuff, I've got a lot of great connections with outfitters. And, me and Mark, we work a lot hand in hand for kind of making some custom stuff for people, just kind of tuning things together and whatnot. So if it depends on what you want, sky's the limit as long as your money spends, right? So.
All right. Anybody, any last questions or comments here? Kind of trying to keep these at, 30, 35 minutes. I know last Monday I went a little bit long, but just want to see if anybody's got anything. Otherwise, Blake, as always, thank you for your time and thanks for coming on. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Reach out to these guys. They're great human beings, very professional and just top notch. And, and I think that's one of the things that really kind of brought, just, I guess, a little plug for you at the end here is what I brought us together is, I'd met you because I was starting to do, I think it may have been my first ever show or my second show. And that's how I ran into you. And I just saw the quality of everything you're doing. And I'm like, and if you remember, I had gone to a different place like a year or two earlier. And the Duraquit, I don't want to say who it is, but it was just not a great job. And then,
I remember that.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden the clouds parted, the ray of sunshine. And then you walk right through like, and I was like, yes, I'm in love. I finally found a guy who knows what the hell he's doing. So,
well, appreciate that, Mark. I really do. And we do stand by everything we do. So, I mean, if you get something done, we're going to want to really make sure it's the best possible product for
and
you.
Just one last time, because this just came out so freaking awesome.
And that was I believe we used 3 colors, and then what we do is you kind of blend those colors together so you can kind of get that transition through. But that was a laid out multicam vinyl. So that Cerakote job like that, we do quite a few of them. But just let us know if it's something you want to help or want some help with getting a project done. And I'm also a Leupold certified dealer. I can get you firearms, suppressors, You know, if you're legal to own it, we're pretty much legal to work on it up to destructive devices. So
rock and roll, rock and roll. Well, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining our live stream. We'll be live again Monday of next week. I tentatively have another guest for the following Thursday. So, you know, and this is a very guy makes some awesome knives. So, you know, stay tuned for that. I'll have more info on Monday just to confirm. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great upcoming weekend. Blake, thank you very much to you and yours for the time. And hey, do you want to let everybody see Tycho real quickly?
Hey, Tycho, come here, numbnuts. There he is.
That was awesome. He just came right around the corner and just there. Yeah.
And then there's Caligula. So
yeah. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, Blake, thank you very much. And everybody else, thanks for joining in. Gene from across the pond, thank you as well for your comment. He just said thanks. I don't know if you saw that, Blake. You guys know the deal. Really appreciate everybody, you know, kind of watching these lives and participating. We got some new stuff coming out. Like I said, I'll have the SRDP should be up on the website this weekend. I already kind of caught a little bit of gruff for showing that sneak peek of the assault ruck. Stay tuned. It's coming. It's coming, boys and girls. Stay tuned. Other than that, you know the deal. If you ever have questions, comments, reach out anytime. You know, help me help you though, right? Don't just send me a text message and don't say your name or an order number. You know, I'm just like, you know, spinning in the wind. Like, okay, I don't know how to even answer this question because I can't find your info, but reach out anytime. I will do the best I can to help you out. And if you help me help you, I can even help out more. But until then, you know, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. All right, everybody, be good. And for everyone out there, woo!
See ya.
All right, see you guys.